Hey folks, this is Kalani. The Dragonflight expansion is introducing a whole new round of new systems and features while expanding upon some of the better options introduced over the last few expansions. We're going to see world quests, world events, bonus objectives, rare monsters to hunt and treasures to collect, and the usual gearing treadmill that we all know and love. Dungeons, Mythic Plus, raids, and of course PvP. But there's a new option on that treadmill. The latest build gives us a look at how endgame content in Dragonflight is shaping up, including some new endgame gearing options for solo players or open world players, which is almost on par with raid gear in Dragonflight. So you don't have to delve into dungeons and you won't need a group. You can do this stuff all by yourself and reap some pretty great rewards. It's not just gear too, there are cosmetics and mounts as well. It also fits in really well with the elemental themes in Dragonflight, so let's take a look at these new Primal invasions, how they work, what rewards are on offer, and whether it's something you'll be interested in for Dragonflight. Before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Explore millions of champion combinations and master countless tactics as you take on raid bosses, dungeon runs, campaign battles, and PvP arena matches. With hundreds of artifacts to equip and over 600 champions blessed with unique skills, you can build your team, develop your champions, and raid your way. Let me share with you my top 3 reasons to play Raid. There are so many champions you can pick from and a whole plethora of abilities to use, so you can always change it up and create your perfect set to conquer your foes. The game also looks incredible with cool looking characters and impressive visuals. And you can also play Raid on your mobile or on your PC with cross-platform support, so you always keep your account progress no matter how you decide to play. And this month, Raid's got a non-stop schedule of special events and activities, including Forge Pass Season 3, with some amazing rewards on offer, including a limited edition artifact set. If that's not enough, Raid's bringing out new champions along with some awesome looking champion skins for the incredible Madame Saris. But wait, here's the big news. Later this month, Raid is giving everybody's favourite champion the upgrade he deserves. You might have seen his struggle for awesomeness in some of Raid's hilarious videos, but finally Death Knight is becoming a legendary champion. It's something we've all been waiting for, and I can't wait to see how Ultimate Death Knight turns out. This is the best time to get started in Raid, and if you click my link in the description or scan the QR code here on the screen, you'll get unique bonuses worth $30. We're talking a free epic champion, Rector Drath, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard, so you can summon awesome champions as soon as you get in game. All of this treasure will be waiting for you here in game, and thank you again to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. Okay, so what's this new gearing option for solo players? In the current Dragonflight Alpha build, you can find Primal Elemental Invasions on your world map. There are 2 active at a time, and they're currently marked by a big red cross, though with it being alpha, that could just be a placeholder for now. Each invasion seems to last for at least a few hours, so it's not something you have to be particularly quick with responding to, and they're probably going to be on a lengthy rotation timer, similar to previous invasions we've had in the past. These invasions are a bit different though, because they don't necessarily summon any new monsters, instead they empower any monsters that typically exist in the invasion area. So for example, if the invasion is over a big centaur camp, all of the centaurs there become much stronger and use special new abilities. There are 4 types of invasions which match the 4 main elemental types. You can get fire, air, water or earth invasions, and the weather in the surrounding area will also change depending on the kind of invasion, which is really cool and a nice change of pace. I really wish we could get more interesting, varied and stronger weather effects in general, but I digress. The invasion elemental type also dictates what new abilities monsters can use, so each invasion is very heavily themed after each element. Okay, but what's the point of these invasions? Well, besides leaning into the story elements of the Primalists trying to take over the Dragon Isles, these events can also provide you with 2 different currencies. The first currency is Elemental Overflow. Every single monster that is empowered during an invasion will drop some elemental overflow currency. There doesn't seem to be any limit on how much you can collect, so you can just go to town and grind this all day every day if you really want to, or for as long as the invasions stay up anyway. Grouping up will probably end up being more efficient, as it always is with open world farms, but it's more than doable all by yourself. You can take this elemental overflow currency to a vendor in the new expansion hub of Valdraken. Mithressa, the apprentice primal researcher, will sell various pieces of gear. It looks like every major gear slot is accounted for here. The only pieces missing are jewelry and trinkets. There are also quite a few new weapons to pick from and a few different cloak options too. All of these items are item level 382, which is probably going to be somewhere around dungeon gear rewards, I think. It should be a respectable set of gear for the start of Dragonflight and will help you get into higher level Mythic Plus keys or to start your raiding adventures. Different slots cost different amounts of overflow currency, so you have to pick and choose which ones to buy first. There's also a mount available from the vendor as well for 2000 elemental overflow, which will probably take a good chunk of time to collect, but you can get the Stormhide Salamander from this vendor if you love to collect mounts as well. And then the second currency is kind of completely different, and it's called Storm Sigils. They still come from the invasions, but they are far more limited both in how you acquire it and how many you can get your hands on. To get a Storm Sigil, you'll need an item that starts a quest. These items drop from any empowered monster in an invasion, so it's more or less just an RNG drop, though I have to say I did get my quest items very quickly when taking part in these invasions on the alpha, so hopefully it won't take too long, seeing as that's the only thing you're going to be interested in later. The quest itself is very easy. Take the sigil to the vendor in Valdraken and he will give you one Storm Sigil. You can only get one of these quest items per week per element type of invasion you do, so one for air, fire, water and earth for a total of 4 sigils per week. Definitely more restrictive when compared to the farm as many as you want currency of elemental overflow. Storm Sigils are used for the exact same thing though, trading them in at a vendor for a set of gear. All of the same gear slots are covered, so everything but jewelry and trinkets, but this gear set costs significantly less currency and its item level is quite a bit higher. You can see right now that some pieces cost 5 sigils, some pieces cost 7 sigils, some will cost you 10 sigils, and then the weapons are very expensive up at 13 sigils. So it's going to take you a little while to gather up all of this gear if we can only get 4 sigils per week, but remember that this is alpha. This is the first time we're seeing this, so these values are subject to change, the prices could be reduced, we might be able to get more sigils when this actually goes live, or there may be more sources of sigils we just don't know about. So don't take these values as set in stone right now. The main point here, the main takeaway is that there are higher item level rewards on offer for purely outdoor soloable world content. Now these gear sets do have models in game right now and they look very cool. We should have all the 4 gear sets on screen from left to right: the cloth set, the leather set, the mail set and then the plate set. For a set of easily accessible, grind as quickly as you can or want, relatively high item level gear, they actually look pretty good as well. I can see a lot of players using these transmogs even after outgearing the sets. There are also a bunch of weapon models to go alongside them and the blue fiery look is very cool indeed. Now even though there are 2 sets of gear to collect here, the lower tier and the higher tier, they do share the exact same model and color right now. That could be placeholder, the higher tier could use a different set or a different color of the same set, or these colors could just be divided up into different types of content and where they are obtained. But with alpha being alpha, we literally just don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but they do look like some pretty good sets so far. Now, if you're curious how these item levels compare to other awards, I can tell you that for right now on the alpha, normal raid gear is currently set at item level 398, so that higher tier of invasion gear at item level 395 is only 3 item levels below normal raid gear. That's very significant as it allows you to more or less get normal raid gear just from outdoor content, and if you've already collected your entire set of the lower item level gear, you only need to take part in invasions 4 times per week, 1 of each element type to get those Storm Sigils, so it becomes more of a slow grind towards that higher tier gear set, but at least it's something anyone can do with a little bit of time and the reward is going to be relevant for everyone, especially early on in Dragonflight. With the item level being so close to raid gear, it's also guaranteed to be higher than Mythic dungeons and higher than some of the lower end Mythic Plus dungeons when they become available. So we don't have any solid item levels for dungeons as of right now, but if the raid item levels stay the same, then that's a good comparison for how relevant this gear could be. It's also important to give players more variety in where they can obtain gear and gear upgrades. The lower tier of gear is still pretty good item level wise, and it will give you an alternative gearing path to progress through, so you can choose between spamming the lower difficulty dungeons or grinding through invasion mobs. More options is always nice, especially if you're going to be playing multiple characters. This vendor loot also gives you the option to buy exactly what you want, so it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can use this vendor gear to fill in your gear slots that you haven't gotten from other more random based gearing up methods. Everyone will most likely want to take part in invasions for some other reasons. They provide reputation bonuses. The Storm Sigil gear is going to be very powerful for anyone who doesn't want to do group content, and by virtue of just taking part in invasions, you will also gather up elemental overflow. You can't really avoid it when it drops from literally every monster you kill. So if you've been running dungeons and you just can't get a chest piece or a leg piece or whatever piece of gear it may be, you know, maybe you just have rotten luck. Dungeon drops are still RNG after all. If you're missing that one piece of gear, you can buy it directly from a vendor with no RNG involved thanks to these new currencies. So it could help fill in the gaps even if you're already doing other content as well. And then as a bit of a tangent to this topic, there is actually a third NPC in the very same building, the lead Titan researcher. This chap is obviously a bit more placeholdery and not completely finished because the only items they sell are for 1 copper, and I'm pretty sure that's not entirely intended. These seem to be tied to the Valdrakken Renown grind, which we'll talk about in a different video, but it seems to be cosmetic weapon skins themed after the Titans. There are only a couple to look at right now, but it's safe to say that we'll probably have another currency to look out for in a future alpha build, and there are probably going to be plenty of cosmetic options from the new reputation grinds coming in Dragonflight. But that's everything we know about this new gearing path for solo players and how it compares to other gear sources. Do you think being able to get almost normal raid gear from solo content is too much? Or do you think solo players should have more options to get even higher item level gear? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to everyone who's subscribed on Twitch. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I'll see you next time.